After a year of flying the 757 and 767 on reserve, I'm officially the most junior line holder in our Chicago base. So I'm off reserve and I know exactly where I'll be flying during the month. And it's going to be a busy one because I have 5 trips scheduled to and from Europe. To be honest, to be a line holder this early on as an international and wide-body pilot is absolutely unheard of. So I feel very lucky and I'm going to take full advantage of the opportunity.
But first, let's rewind a bit. I filmed this video a year ago, and a lot has happened since then. I flew a 767 to London with one of my best friends from college, took time off to travel to some bucket list countries, became an open water advanced scuba diver deep in the ocean around Honduras and the Philippines. Our pilot union ALPA helped us pass an important new pilot contract, and I moved to San Francisco, where I'm flying the 757 from coast to coast, mixed with Hawaii trips, and bidding plenty of Kona layovers on the Big Island where my career started with Mokulele. It's been a busy year, and my time away from filming has let me enjoy living on the West Coast for the very first time. But I'm so glad to be back with all of you, showing exactly what you can look forward to as you become an airline pilot.
At United, we have something called the G line, or the guaranteed line number. It's basically a percentage of your seniority in the aircraft that you're flying, the base that you're in, and the seat that you're in that guarantees that you can have a line, or it means that you'll be on reserve. So anytime you're above the G line, you can get a line and you know exactly what your schedule will be for the month. Now, there are always exceptions, and sometimes you'll see senior pilots actually bid for reserve because they need specific days off, or they're trying to spend a little bit of extra time at home. And likewise, you'll see occasionally junior pilots get a line when they otherwise couldn't hold a schedule. Now, every airline has a different system for this, but there's always a threshold at which you can hold a line or you can be on reserve.
My bid award has me scheduled to fly 5 trips, 3 to Dublin, 1 to London, and 1 to Edinburgh. You might notice that all of my trip numbers begin with 035XX. That means they're O'Hare-based trips, and the 5 means I'm scheduled to be the International Relief Officer, or IRO. The pilot flying seat would be coded as 030XX in Chicago. Most of our pilots would rather be the pilot flying, so being IRO is generally awarded to more junior pilots, like me. I'm going to try trading some of these trips into flying seats if they're available. My initial schedule has 16 days off and 73 hours of flight time and pay. You might notice 2 sets of trips are back-to-back with 1 night at home in between, which isn't a great break, so I might try to move those around. And before bidding, I used 2 of my annual golden days off to make sure I wouldn't be working on May 6th and 7th for a concert I'm going to. For a first-time line holder, I was more than happy with how my bid turned out.
Now, being as junior as I am as a line holder, I knew that I wouldn't be able to be really choosy when it came to specific bid preferences like individual trips or overnights or days off. To be able to get a bid that I was excited about, I set wide parameters like avoiding London on the 767, which is a trip that I've done over and over again. I set a wide parameter for requesting seasonal trips like Dublin or Edinburgh or Reykjavik, Iceland, just to see what I would get. And that's how I got lucky getting those Edinburgh and Dublin trips, because I set such a wide net and left my bid preferences relatively open. Now, as I get more and more senior on the airplane, I'll be able to be choosy for bidding specific trips and overnights, but that's something that comes with seniority, and being on an international and wide-body fleet, my seniority progresses pretty slowly compared to if I was on a 737 or Airbus. Sometimes as a line holder, the schedule that we actually fly during the month is a lot different than what we were originally awarded. And that's because we have the ability to trade and swap trips. It's a great way to improve your schedule, especially as a junior pilot. You'll find that senior line holders oftentimes aren't trading around as many trips because they're able to be awarded exactly what they bid for. When you get down towards the mid-range of seniority and the junior end of seniority, you'll find a lot more pilots that are trying to trade and swap trips, either with other pilots or with company-posted open time that has no pilot assigned to it. Trading trips is one of the best ways to improve your schedule, to get a little bit more pay, or a trip that otherwise you couldn't have held in the normal bid award.
Here's what my month looked like after trip trading. I decided to trade a Dublin relief pilot trip on the 757 for a flying seat to London on the 767. Next, I gave up another Dublin relief pilot trip, but this time for Shannon, Ireland. Now, I've been to Dublin before, so I figured Shannon would be a little bit more of an adventure. Now, this last trade was a tough decision. I traded out of an Edinburgh, Scotland relief pilot spot for a flying position on our unaugmented flight, meaning just 2 pilots, to Reykjavik, Iceland. I've been dying to go to both Edinburgh and Iceland, but Iceland has been a little bit more senior since it's brand new to our Chicago base.
In the past few months on reserve, I haven't been flying a whole lot, at the most maybe 1 to 3 trips. So this month as a line holder, I really wanted to get some experience flying the airplane, and I found the perfect trip to do that. It was an out-of-base pickup on the 757 from Newark to Lima, Peru, which was a new destination for me, and it was in the flying seat. I haven't flown the 75 a whole lot recently, so that was a really good trip to get back into it, knock the rust off a little bit. The only real downside was that it brought my schedule from 16 days off down to 13 days off with 6 international 3-day trips. That's a really aggressive schedule and not something that I would normally choose to do. But again, it was really good to get some good flying experience in the airplane. This was absolutely my busiest month ever flying as an airline pilot. I brought myself down to 13 days off and flew 6 international 3-day trips. Now there is no chance that I'm picking up any extra flying in the next few days. It was a lot of fun, but it was also really busy. I can't wait to get home because next week I do it all over again.